So someone in California has tested positive for the plague this week. And before you ask, yes, the plague, like the main one. The video I saw from ABC News announcing this admittedly does have one of the funniest comment sections I have ever seen, because a lot of us are indeed sick of living through history and don't really feel like catching a medieval disease tomorrow. But that video, albeit funny, did leave out some pretty important context that we actually have a handful of cases of the plague every year. And we typically treat it with antibiotics, and most cases don't end up fatal. So without further ado, let's talk about the state of the bubonic plague in 2025. So this most recent person most likely got bitten by a flea when they were out camping in the Lake Tahoe region. This is a typical way for the plague to be transmitted, okay? Usually it's like a squirrel or a chipmunk has the plague, and then a flea bites it, and then a flea bites you. Fuck, now you have the plague. For this reason, officials in the area actually have been tracking plague-infected rodents for a while now. For example, between 2021 to 2024, there were 41 rodents that had been exposed to it. And then this year, 4 additional rodents tested positive, all in the Tahoe Basin, which again is the region where this most recent person got it. You can see that the cases are all sort of clumped over here on the map. I'll explain that. Because remember, the plague didn't start in the US, it arrived here on rat-infested ships. And there was specifically an epidemic in LA in the 1920s, and then the urban rats gave it to the rural rats. And now those rodent species in the American Southwest have just sort of carried it for a while with very minimal transmissions to humans. And again, when I say carried it for a while, like we're talking about a handful of rodents. The plague is not making some sort of comeback right now. There are incidents of plague outside the US as well. One of the bigger recent outbreaks was in Madagascar in 2017, where a few over 200 people passed from it. The earlier you catch it and the quicker you get antibiotics, the more likely you are to survive. And historically, because the global north has had a habit of stealing all the resources from Africa and the global south, when there are outbreaks in places like Madagascar, they're often less equipped to handle it than we are in the United States. That is a direct result of historic racism and extraction of resources from the African continent. Long story short, the plague still exists, but is very rare. If you ever come across a bubonic plague warning in the wilderness, please go in the other direction. But yeah, you're not going to get the plague, but hopefully someone like Orange and Mean will. Anyways, follow for more.